Jaya Jaya Navala Kishore Jaya Gopi Chit Chor Prabho Jaya Jaya Makhan Chor Jaya Jaya Makhan Chor श्री कृष्ण चंद्र भगवान की जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की उपस्थित भगवत कथानुरागी पधारे हुए भक्त वृंद, इस सभा को
Hare Krishna.
परम सुशोभित करने
Please accept my humble obeisances.
अंतर्राष्ट्रीय
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Gauranga. I welcome and extend my heartfelt gratitude to each one of the senior Vaishnavas of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. I also welcome all the Vaishnavas who have gathered together on the Zoom platform and also other Vaishnavas who are participating in this Katha from other platforms like YouTube and Facebook. My special thanks and warm greetings goes out to the host family from United States of America, Bhaidal Patel, who have organized this beautiful Katha in the loving memory of Madhuben Patel and also Yogesh Patel, and the entire family of Bhailal Patel, his daughter-in-law Deepa Ben, her sons Vishal and Sahaj, and also the daughter of Bhailal Patel, Hina Mataji, and her husband Pankaj Kumar Prabhu, and their son Jamin and daughter Ravina. I also extend my heartfelt welcome and gratitude to the Chand family from Bangladesh who have organized this beautiful Katha in the loving memory of Kalpana Rani Chand, Bindu Chand and Durjatan Chand. So I welcome each one of you to the fifth session of this Katha. Hare Krishna, Radhe Shyam. So as I gather, each one of us who are here have been engaged in beautiful association of the Vaishnavas. And you people have engaged in the study of beautiful Shastras that we have. Now, after every Katha, each one of you shoot your questions to me. Now, today I have a question before you. Now I look forward that who shall answer my question. Now I have a question for you today, and let's see, the answer should come from Madhusudan Prabhu. So the question is, how many demigods are there? So how many demigods are there?
ओके, करोड़ों की संख्या है। ठीक है, तो ये करोड़ तक पहुंचे हैं। और थोड़ा एग्जैक्ट कोई बता सकते हैं? हाथ ऊपर कर सकते तो मैं नाम लूंगा आपका। रमेश भाई बोलेंगे। यस, रमेश भाई।
Now let Ramesh Bhai speak.
रमेश भाई, देवताओं कितला है?
How many demigods do we have?
Very good. 33 crore.
So the answer is 33 crores.
देवी देवता कितने हैं? 33 करोड़.
So there are 33 crores.
थाप मार दिया, मोहर मार दिया, 33 करोड़. रमेश भाई, ये 33 करोड़ देवता कितने?
If I ask further, so for how many years that there have been these 33 crores demigods?
जब से हमें बुद्धि मिली है, तब से हम लोग यही बोलते हैं कि देवता कितने? 33 करोड़. देवता कितने?
So from the time we have gained consciousness, we say that there are 33 crores demigods. Now my question is, for how long they have been there?
ये मेरा प्रश्न है. सदियों से, युग युग से वेदों में, शास्त्रों में, पुराणों में साधु संत के
So my question is that the Shastras and the saints and sadhus have always told us that there have been 33 crores demigods. So considering that fact, just like the population of different countries go on to increase, then if you talk about demigods, they do not have any other work, they do not have any intention of earning also. So ideally, don't you think that why and what should be the population of these 33 crores demigods? Why is their population not going up? So, don't you think you ever came across this query? And if you have a query, have you ever wondered why the population of 33 crores demigods do not go for a rise? As such, demigods are mortals, right? So just in case, if you see, if demigods do have partners and consorts to each other, then ideally the population would go for an increase. But for times immemorial, the number stays fixed at 33 crores demigods. So if ever you have wondered over this question, then what ideally should have been the answer to this question? So if we would participate in this katha with rapt attention, then certainly we would get an answer to the query. So you see, if you would not listen to the question, to the katha, you would get the answer to your question. But if you wouldn't do that, you would never be able to find answer to a query. So I would attempt to illustrate with the shlokas from our Shastras that the population of demigods since time immemorial had been 33 crores, and why it does not go for a rise. So such queries can always be answered by way of Shrimad Bhagavatam. I personally feel that there cannot be a query in the world which is not answered by Bhagvat Gita and Shrimad Bhagavatam. Whatever may be the intensity and degree of the problem and challenge, there will always be an answer provided by Shrimad Bhagavatam and Bhagvat Gita. So it goes without saying that we are doing a great job of listening Shrimad Bhagavatam, but on the top of that, we are running into the Chaturmas and also the Shravan month, which is the first month. You see, you can't even imagine what is the degree of significance of listening to Shrimad Bhagavatam in Chaturmas. So in Padam Purans, Shivji, Lord Shiva says to Naraji that in the Chaturmas, in the Shravan Mas, what is the result of listening to Shrimad Bhagavatam? The shloka is before you on your screens. So in Padma Puran, Lord Shiva explains Naradji what is the significance and importance for an individual if he listens to Shrimad Bhagavatam in the month of Chaturmas.
पद्म पुराण के उत्तरखंड में
In the Uttarakhand of Padma Puran, Lord Shiva goes on to explain, O Narad, in the Chaturmas, in which the first month is Shravan, if somebody takes a vow and listens to Shrimad Bhagavatam, then if an individual listens to Shrimad Bhagavatam for some time, then he gets the credit and the results as worthy as Ashwamedh Yagya. So first let us understand what is Ashwamedh Yagya, which is not a small feat to be achieved and which can be achieved by anyone. So you see what happens in Ashwamedh Yagya. So if a king was supposed to perform Ashwamedh Yagna, then he would set free a horse, and now this horse, you see, goes around the different parts of the world. Now, if somebody is jealous or in pain, etc., you mean some other king who gets jealous or envious of this king, then the king to whom the horse belongs, he gets into a war with the king who has stopped the path of his horse. Now again the horse goes on to cover the other parts of the world. So in this way, whatever areas had been covered by the horse comes to belong to the king who had set him free. So once the horse completes the entire area of the world, then the king would get the credit of Ashwamedh Yagya. So I always wonder if in the age of Kali Yuga, if somebody wants to perform Ashwamedh Yagya, then the horse would not be able to even run out of the compound because we have so many enemies, we have so many opponents just around us. So having said so, it is just impossible to conduct any Ashwamedh Yagya in the age of Kali Yuga. And that's the reason, you see, if you focus upon the shloka, Lord Shiva says that if somebody takes a resolution to listen to Shrimad Bhagavatam in the Chaturmas, then he gets the credit and fruit worth conducting of 1000 Ashwamedh Yagya. So the credit of 1000 Ashwamedh Yagya can be attained by an individual if he listens to Shrimad Bhagavatam Katha in the month of Chaturmas. So that ways we are extremely fortunate that the Patel family from New Jersey, USA have organized this beautiful Katha, and because of their efforts that we would be able to attain the fruits of Shrimad Bhagvat Katha, the chanting of the holy name of the Lord by way of this host family organizing this Katha. So many questions are coming before me that, Lord, O Prabhu, that yesterday where we had stopped, we want to continue from that. So the devotees are keen to listen that how Naradji was able to convince within the flip of a second and converted the 10,000 sons of King Daksh towards brahmachari and devotees.
Actually, with 10 point और कुछ नहीं, वो puzzle थी. ये
So the 10 points were nothing but puzzles put forward by Naradji, but he presented it in such a manner that the entire philosophy of the life could be understood by anyone. Naradji had said that when you do not know the end of the earth, where does lie the end of this earth? So when we do not know the end of this earth, then there is no point for us to stay on this earth. First, let us understand the question. The end of the earth, where does it lie and what does it mean? Lord Krishna says in Bhagvat Gita that even this material body is a region, is a place of the earth. So our body is made of 5 cosmic elements. So the abundance of the element in our body is the element of earth. So the body in itself is reflection of the earth. So the question is, where does lie the end of this material body? So some people feel that we shall stay alive for 50, 60 days and after that it will come to an end. You see, the fact is, after death we will attain another body and it goes so on and so forth. So again and again we shall take birth, again and again we shall die. So where does lie the end? So when there is no end that we are aware of, and how do we stay here? So this is the first query that we must always raise. So where is the end to this body? So until when we shall be engaged in gaining another body after death? So as Lord Krishna says, that just as we take up on newer clothes and discard the old one, similarly, we discard the old body and attain a new body. And it is not necessary or compulsory that if we leave the body of a human being, we shall attain the same body. If you have lived like a monkey, you will attain the body of a monkey. If you had lived like a dog, you shall attain the body of a dog. If we had only been into eating, then you will get that you'll get a body of a pig. If you had only been engaged into laboring and working hard without anything else, then Lord would say, then you should get a body of a donkey. So the first query and the first question and puzzle of Naradji was, what is the end of the earth or your body? And you see, unfortunately, the problem in our lives is that whatever name we might give to the challenging problems of our life, see, apparently, the visibility of the cover of the problem might appear different, but the fundamental problem of all individuals in this world is basically the same. So the root cause of all problems in the world is this body, this material body. Until and unless, so long as you have this material body consisting of 5 elements, there shall remain problems, and you should not get you shall not get deliverance from that. So some argue that, okay, what if we destroy this body? Then the answer is, if you kill this body, destroy this body, you shall get another body, and then further so on and so forth. So there is no solution to the root cause of the problem that we have been engaged in understanding so far. So when you do not know the end of this body, so what is the fun in committing other things in this world? So Naraji says, then when you do not know the end of the earth, what is the fun in doing so many other things of the world? What is the fun in getting married? First, you should get to know what is the end of this body. So I'm illustrating specially for Pankaj Prabhu.
ની બીમારી દૂર ન થઈ. ઘણા સમય પછી એક બહુ મોટા વૈદ આવે છે અને રાજાનો હાથ જોઈને કે મારી પાસે આનો ઈલાજ છે. શું? એ કે કોઈ સુખી માણસનો કુર્તો જો આ રાજાને તમે પહેરાવી દો, સુખી માણસનો કુર્તો પહેરાવી દો તો આ રાજાનો રોગ દૂર થાય. રાજાનો મંત્રી પ્રસન્ન થયો, વાહ, અમે તો ઘણા દિવસથી આ બધું વિચારતા હતા કેમ અમારા રાજા ઠીક થાય. મંત્રી આખી સેનાને મોકલી કે જાઓ સુખી માણસનો કુર્તો લઈ આવો. અને આખી સેના જાય છે. જે રસ્તામાં મળે ને પૂછે કે ભાઈ તમે સુખી છો, હાઉ આર યુ? તો સાંભળો કે હા, આઈ એમ ફાઇન, આઈ એમ ગુડ. પછી કે સાચે તમે સુખી છો? પછી રોવાનું ચાલુ કરે, નહીં મારે ये प्रॉब्लम है, ये प्रॉब्लम. આખો દિવસ વીતી ગયો પણ રાજાની સેનાને કોઈ સુખી માણસ ન મળ્યો. ત્યારે મંત્રી આશ્ચર્ય થયો કે સુખી માણસ કોઈ નહીં, ચલો હું ગોતવા જાઉં. રાજાનો મંત્રી ગોતવા જાય છે, સુખી માણસ ક્યાં મળે, ક્યાં મળે. અને એક નદીના કિનારે પહોંચ્યો અને એ નદીની વચ્ચોવચ્ચ એક નૌકા અને નૌકામાં એક માણસ હાથમાં ગમછો લઈને આપણે ગુજરાતીનો હેલો ગાતો હતો. हेला जानते हैं आप? उसके लिए सौराष्ट्र में आना पड़ेगा. तो भजन कीर्तन तो मग्न હતો માણસ. અને મંત્રી દૂરથી કે ભાઈ તમે સુખી છો? કે હા સુખી, મોજ, પૂરેપૂરી મોજ. કે ભાઈ હું તને જ ગોતું છું, અહીંયા આવ, મારે તારું કામ છે. નજીક આવે, તમે સાચે સુખી છો? ભાઈ હા સાચે સુખી છું. મંત્રી કે અમારા રાજાને રોગ થયો છે, એક કામ કરો, તમારો કુર્તો આપી દો કે જેથી એનો રોગ દૂર થાય. ત્યારે માણસ એટલું જ બોલ્યો કે મારી પાસે કુર્તો નથી એટલે તો હું સુખી છું. આ દુનિયામાં જેટલા કુર્તાવાળા છે એ બધા જ દુઃખી છે. કહેવાનો અર્થ એ કુર્તો શું છે? કુર્તો આપણું શરીર છે. મારીને તમારી પાસે જ્યાં સુધી આ શરીર, આ દેહરૂપી કુર્તો હશે ત્યાં સુધી આપણા જીવનમાં સુખ નહીં આવે. तो फिर इस शरीर का अंत कहाँ है?
So where does lie the end to this body? The end of this body lies in the fact that until and unless we do not reach the abode of Lord, Vaikuntha or Akshardham or Saket or Dwarika or Golok Vrindavan, so till the time we do not take an entry into the spiritual world, back to the spiritual world, till that time we shall consider that there is no end to this body. So the end to this material body lies in the abode of the Lord, which is Vaikunt. So this means what? That we are all in transit, we are all traveling, and our destination is in Vaikunt. And you see, 100 questions were asked by Yaksh to Yudhishthira Maharaj. And in that, one of the problems that was discussed was that the one who is in travel, the one who is in transit, is in pain and problem. So where we are located, This is not our destination, this soul. What is our introduction? That we are all souls. And the soul is Satchit Anand. It is the segment of the Lord. And it is now bound in this material world. It is entangled in this material world. If you ask me, that diamond worth crores is entangled in the vegetable market. The fragment of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is entangled in this material world. So the place where we are situation in itself is problematic. So there is no reason to blame each other. Ultimately, if you want deliverance from your problems, what you're supposed to do, that you must leave this place. So this means what? That the cycle of birth and death, ideally you should seek freedom from that. And our real destination, which is the spiritual world, which is the abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so long as we do not go back to our ultimate destination, which is Vaikunt, we shall not feel happy. So you see, every shloka can be engaged in explanation for 3 to 4 hours. So the basic question was, where does lie the end of the material body? The answer is in Vaikunt. So now, if the body is problematic, and then if we reach the abode of Lord, then problems will come to an end. So what is the formula to reach back to Godhead? The formula is engaging in devotion, engaging in chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Some people engage in loving Lord by dancing and kirtan. Some engage in performing arti of the Lord. So as per your own liking and tastes, engage in loving Lord, serving the Lord, and that is how you will attain the abode of Lord. And that is what the devotees of the Lord are engaged in. Now you tell me that who is an intelligent one? You see the kind of hard work that we are engaged in. It's nothing but a part of temporary solution. Somebody makes a big house. You see, there was a boy that I was required to cook by myself, and therefore I got married. Now, if you ask me, that he had solved one problem, but then he has given rise to 10 new problems. I am not denying that one should not get married, but the fact is, in this material body, the ultimate solution to all the problem is to engage in devotion. And by way of devotion, one should look forward to get free from the cycle of birth and death and go back to Godhead. The second question, the second query brought forward by Naraji was, Lord Naraji addressed the 10,000 sons. You want to get married? So there's a country in which there is just one male. Now the 10,000 sons got confused and bewildered as to what that country, what that place is. Naraji says that these lakhs and lakhs of universe, so what is visible from this material vision, the fact is there is just one male, one Purush, which is Lord Krishna, Lord Narayan. So there's just one Purush, which is Lord Krishna, or whatever we choose to call him. So that is the eternal element. That is the eternal Purush. Rest all are the Prakriti of that Lord. What is this world? This world is Prakriti of the Lord. You see? So just as this material world is the Prakriti of the eternal Purush, similarly, everything is the Prakriti of the Purush. So who is the owner? Who is the ultimate eternal owner? The Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is Lord Krishna. Some males, gets filled with a lot of pride, and that some males hurl out at their wives that you are a female, so you stay quiet. But I feel that it is not possible in this world today. So I believe that Purush, that the males of this material world, should not unnecessarily get into walking with cushion of air around them that they are males. So female is female for sure, but even the males are also a kind of females before the eternal Purush. So in the material world, just as the female works under the leadership of the male, similarly, each one of us, all males and all females, are kind of females before the eternal Purush, which is Lord Krishna. We all are the Tathast power or the Tathast Shakti of the Lord.
भगवान की तीन प्रकार की शक्ति.
So there are three types of powers of Lord which are major. Antarang power. So the Antarang power of the Lord is Samvit Samdini Alhadini. Aladini power. From Aladini power we have Yog Maya. And then we have Radharani, Sita Maya, Rukmani, etc. So this is Antarang power. Bahirang Shakti or Bahirang Shakti of the Lord is Maya. Or that is illusion. Bahirang power of the Lord, illustrates in the form of material world.
Spiritual world, ये सब अंतरंग शक्ति है.
The abode of Lord is a part of Antarang power. And we are neither the Antarang or the Bahirang Shakti of the Lord, we are rather Tathast Shakti. So this soul, the individuals are all but nothing, Tathast Shakti, assuming that we are at the coast of the ocean, neither on land nor in water. So the decision lies in our hands, that we are placed in between the material world and the spiritual world. So it completely depends upon us whether we want to go to material world or that we want to engage ourselves in the spiritual world. So the decision lies in the hands of the material world, that whatever he wants to engage himself in. So if he wants to engage himself in the material world, the cycle of birth and death goes on and on. And if one engages in the spiritual world, then he would be able to attain the abode of the Lord, which is Vaikunt. So in this entire world, there is just one male, one Purush, which is Lord Krishna or Narayan, and rest all is Prakriti of the Lord. The third question raised by Naradji was, do you know that there is such a hole? So there is such a hole in which a person can enter into it but cannot make an exit. What is such a hole or a cave where you can certainly make an entry but that you cannot make an exit, you cannot come back, come out of it. Do you know where is that cave or hole located?
આપણે તો આ બધું જાણ્યા વગર શાદી કરી લીધી છે, લેકિન ये लोग को नारद जी ने कहा, तो इसका उत्तर, वो कौन सा बिल है जहां पर आदमी जाता है तो वापस नहीं आता?
So where is that cave? Where is that hole?
आदमी नरक में जाता है, वो अपना दंड अपनी सजा भुगत कर वापस इस पृथ्वी में आ जाता है.
So the person goes into that cave, he is inflicted with the punishment and then he comes back. If he goes to heavens, then it does not mean that he will stay there forever. He also has to again come back from the heavens. Then look, Maran look, you know, we can even go on to attain Brahmlok, but even from that, we have to come back to this material world. Just as the moment you get your balance over in the bank account goes for a closure. So the moment you get your account of virtues completed, you'll come back to this material world. Lord Krishna said in Bhagvat Gita, O Arjun, if an individual, even if he reaches Brahmalok, he shall have to come back to the material world. But there is such a place, such an only place, where if he goes, he shall never be coming back. And what is that place? It is Vaikunt, the spiritual world, the abode of the Lord. So once you make an entry, then you shall never return back to this dirt of material world. So you see, some people must be bewildered. What is so great about in the spiritual world that we would not come back? So actually the thing is that majority of us do not understand what is actually the abode of Lord. Actually, we have gone on to consider this material world as the best world. So there were two friends, one amongst who would sell fishes and the other one who would sell flowers. So you see fish which smell so bad, I wonder how do people consume it. So we hail from Mumbai, if you see, when you travel in Mumbai trains, you get so accustomed to the smell of fish. Count what cold that you may suffer from, but if you are traveling in Mumbai trains and that you also have fish on board the coach, your centuries old cold will actually fly away within flip of a second with the smell. Now you see, once it so happened that this female who used to sell fish got late, so the other friend offered her to stay back at her home. Now, the female who used to sell flowers in the next day morning, she asked, could you sleep properly the last night? Now, the friend who used to sell fish said that she could not sleep throughout the night because of the strong smell that she experienced here at the home, which actually was the fragrance of the flowers. So you see, those who are used to the smell of the fish, that person will not be even comfortable with the fragrance of the flowers. Similarly, each one of us who have been becoming so used to this material world that we would deny and decline and refuse to go back to the abode of Godhead. So you see, we have become so accustomed to this material world, we don't even know what is the wonderful thing about abode of home. So Lord Krishna goes on to explain this to Arjun, that what is my abode like? My abode does not need suns for illumination. It is self-illuminated. So you see, we have to pay to the electricity department to illuminate our houses, but the abode of the Lord is self-illuminated, so no tension of bill. Further, Lord Krishna says that for once if an individual comes to my abode, he would never wish to go back. So the third question of Naradji was that there was a cave, there is a cave and a hole where if one enters, he would never wish to return. So that cave or that hole is the abode of the Lord. The fourth question raised by Naradji was that there is one such female who goes on to take different forms. Who is that female? Now again, the sons of Daksh Prajapati were absolutely quiet. Now, you must not relate this to the females of the material world, that females take different forms at different places and different time.
लेकिन ये बेचारी कुसुमिका माता को बड़ा भाव है गुरुदेव के प्रति, लेकिन घर पर भी रहना है। तो जब जब मैंने नोट किया कि जब शुरू शाम को 7 बजे शुरू हुआ तो
I personally noted that Kusumika Mataji took different forms on the Vyas Puja. You see, when we started, there was a different appearance. By the noon it changed. By the evening, she took a different form. And by the night, she was a different form, you see. She took 4 different forms in her appearance, and I stayed there in one costume. Anyhow, this was on a lighter tone. So there is one female who takes different forms very frequently. Who is that female? So the answer is that female is our intellect. Our intellect. Our intellect goes on to take different forms very frequently. Until and unless this intellect continues to take different forms, there will be no end to our problems and challenges. So long as our intellect goes on to take different forms, there would surely be problems and challenges. And hence, there should be concentrated one form of intellect. And it is said in Shrimad Bhagavatam. So the intellect which gets glued only to Lord Krishna. So the intellect which gets on to only concentrate upon Lord Vasudev, then you should understand that you have the intellect of perfect, excellent category. So if your intellect is engaged in the devotion towards Lord, then certainly it is of a wonderful category, and that any decision that we must take should be taken keeping the Lord in the center. So that way the intellect can be stable and also wonderful. Now further question raised by Naradji was that there is a river which flows in 2 directions. So now these sons started thinking that how come there be a river which flows in 2 directions? So how is it possible that a river which flows in 2 opposite directions? Now these sons of Daksh Prajapati were perplexed and confused. Then Naradji said, then the river that flows in 2 opposite directions, it is Maya or illusion. So illusion or Maya is also of 2 types. Antarang Shakti of the Lord is Maya, and then the Bahiranga Shakti, which is Maya. So Maya or illusion is such a river which flows in two directions. So illusion gives birth to individuals in the world, and the same illusion also perform the task of killing the people in this material world. So it is illusory power which gives birth to the individuals, and also it is the illusory power which kills the people in this material world. Then Naraji further goes on to raise another question, that do you know what is the product of 5 into 5? That means 25 elements. That there is an abode consisting of 25 elements. Do you know about that house? So how is it a possibility that there is a house made of 25 elements? And that is a wonderful house, incredible, marvelous house. So I asked to all the devotees on Zoom platform that where is that house consisting of 25 incredible elements? So by the mercy of Naradji, those sons of Prajapati understood that it is our own body. So actually our body is not just made up of 5, rather 25 elements. Now, some of you might have this query that tell us those 25 elements. So let me better put it before you right away. So what are those 25 elements? Now, some people wonder what is going on in Afghanistan and Pakistan. But I would say that first of all, you must know what is going on within you. But we're eager to know what is going in rest of the world outside. So first of all, you must know the soul, the elements of soul. So what is the fun in knowing about the rest of the world? So it is we who are made of 25 elements. 5 are the major elements: earth, water, air, ether. And then there are 5: Shabd, Roop, Sparsh, Ras, and Gandh. The next 5 are Gyanendriya: ear, nose, mouth, skin. And then 5 are Karmendriyas: hand, feet, speech, and 2 Janendriyas. So it becomes 20. And the next 5 are minor body: Man, Buddhi, Ahankar. So that makes 23, and 2 spiritual: soul and the super soul. The total 25 elements consists and then produces the body. And one more element was added, that was Chitta, which is called as the 26th element. So in this manner, this material body consists of 25 or 26 elements. The next query, the 7th query of Naraji was, so there is one such Hans for which there is a strange story. Do you know which that Hans is? Now again, the sons were completely confused. So what is that Hans which has strange stories associated with it? Then by the mercy of Naraji, the sons of Daksh Prajapati understood that such strange hunts is none other than the Shastras and the Vedas. You see, the Shastras and Vedas are very, very strange and unique. If you would want to understand them ordinarily by your ordinary mind, you would never be able to understand them. So that's the reason I always say that you should certainly understand and attempt to read the Shastras. But, but you see, it is very important that you do it under your spiritual master. If you would want to do it all by yourself, you would not be able to make sense of it. So you see, I illustrate it with the help of example that if you go on to choose a particular medicine from the pharma world, then it is always good that you do it under the guidance of the doctor, and you shall certainly get well. But if you do it by yourself, then there is problem. So the Shastras and the Puranas are so unique in themselves that you see, if you would attempt to understand them and read them by yourself, it would not yield you the desired result. But if you do it under spiritual master, then certainly you'll make good sense of it. Now, I had a question from one of the devotees who said that because Prahlad Maharaj gave up upon his son, abandoned his father, Prahlad Maharaj, I'm sorry, abandoned his father, so I should also now give upon my family. Now, this sounds quite strange because until and unless you understand the real situation, you should not take such a decision. Now, I also got a query from one of the Matajis who wrote to me that I also have one Hiranyakashipu at my home, and because of him, I'm not able to listen to Katha. So, the point that I want to get across is that if you go on to consider your near and dear family ones with such version like that they are Hiranyakashipu and all, it is imprudent to look at them with such vision. If such family members are not engaged in devotional service, that means that perhaps they are running short of virtues and righteousness. So instead of being critical upon them, instead of being sarcastic upon them, such a person rather should be a subject of our mercy and kindness. We must exhibit kindness and mercy. So some people say that Mirabai gave up upon her husband. So tomorrow we would also leave her husband. But then you see the Shastras therefore are unique and strange. They cannot be implemented or imbibed directly. Certainly you must listen and read. But then when it comes to imbibing them in our lives, we should always do that under the instruction of a spiritual master and under such a guru who knows everything about us. It should not so happen that we also keep the guru in dark and then we continue to perform the way we would do. Amongst the crowds of this world, there should be one such guru that we must be just like an open book. Actually, we have so many things hidden in our heart. We should actually be very, very open to a spiritual master. You and me carry around with huge load of sins. That is the reason we should be very, very open towards the Guru. So this Shastras and Puranic literature are quite unique and strange. And the next question raised by Naradji was that there is such a disk which in itself is confused. So there is such a disk which goes on by itself, and that entire world cannot even stop it. So what is that disc? Is that of a train, a car, or a plane? Then, by the mercy of Narvaji, the sons of Daksh Prajapati got to understood that such a disc is Kal Chakra, the wheel of Kal, the wheel of the time. The disc of the time can never be stopped by anyone. It goes on by itself, it progresses by itself. Chanakya Pandit has written this and Prabhupada has quoted it several times. And it is said that you are not in a position to buy even a second in exchange of crores of wealth. The moment a second has passed by in your life, it shall never return. Nobody has ever been able to stop the wheel of time. I feel so strange and feel so pity for the people who say, I am doing some time pass. You see, time in itself goes on and on. How can you pass on the time? You never know. The next second death is awaiting you.
હે છોડી ચાલ્યા છે સંસાર હે તે હરિનો રસ પીજીએ માળી વીણે છે રૂડા ફૂલડા રે કળીઓ કરે છે વિચાર આજનો દીન રણિયામણો હે કાલે આપણે શિરધાર हे ते हरि नो रस पीजिए हे ते हरि नो रस पीजिए बगीचे में
In the garden,
उस बगीचे की रक्षा करने वाला माली
the gardener, which takes care of the garden, when he plucks a full-fledged flower, the flower buds feel that today this flower has been plucked and perhaps some days after we shall be plucked. Those who were elder to us have gone by and that perhaps we shall be the next. So each one of us must think those who have been staying besides us have left, and that day shall also befall upon us. So this world is momentary. So the death can come anytime. I wish that each one of you have a long life, but then the fact is, if you go on to sleep today, whether or not you would see the next morning, you never know. So all your desires would stay frozen if the death comes to take you away. The point that I want to get across, I want to get across to all my dear devotees that the death, if at any point of time it comes, we should never feel pity about ourselves. We should have no regrets. We should have no regret. Come what may, the death comes at any point of time. You see, there is no guarantee to life. So do whatever you want to do.
तो जीवन का कोई भरोसा नहीं सत्य है
So this is a true fact that there is no guarantee to life. There is no prediction to life.
चलती चक्की को देखकर कबीरदास जी रोने लगे कि बोले जैसे चक्की के बीच में चावल का दाना फंसा हुआ
So
है
just as between two grinding stones, that the grains are entangled. Similarly, each one of us are tied in the wheel of time. So some are entangled by half, some full, some a fourth. Now, how pitiable the situation is, despite the fact that we're entangled in the wheel of time, but still we go on to celebrate birthdays, the anniversaries, and party hard. So when we celebrate birthdays, we must understand that a year has been reduced from a life. So for sure, you're progressing towards death. You see, a material thing like a mobile also gets upgraded in a week or a 15 days. So you see what happens? We are very, very rigid. We do not change. We do not upgrade. So when mechanical things, mechanical machines go on for upgradation, so there is updation and upgradation in the material things. But then we do not do it for ourselves. So update is a small change, while upgradation is a big change. So when we pass by one birthday, 1 year, we must know and we must question what is the update. And before death, we should ponder and think that the intellect that we have entered in this world with, has that gone any upgradation and updation? So the life that we have attained, have we made something meaningful out of it? So having taken birth in a wonderful Brahmin family, but still some people engage in, let's say, meat eating and all. So instead of progressively moving ahead, but then it is very unfortunate to see people going on to degrade their life and thereby making it more and more meaningless. So you might be able to get numerous things in this world, but you would never be able to get some time. You cannot buy time. You see, I have closely observed the world. So when we are actually in youthdom, but there is no money in the pocket, but desires are huge. Then we think that we would earn huge loads of money and go around everything. So people engage in earning and create loads and loads of money, but by till the time you get money in your hands, your youthdom passes by. So the power disappears that you would be able to enjoy money. Let me just talk about myself. When there was desire to eat and eat, but there was no money. But today we have all access to eat, but then we are engaged more in dieting. So this world is actually a circle. There is nothing that we could actually enjoy. Now, now if you go to Surat in a restaurant, the time you get the menu card, you would order a Punjabi meal or a Chinese meal. But when you go to Punjab, you will order dhokla. And when they would go in China, they would ask for Gujarati food. So actually, there is nothing in this world. It only takes us around and around. Ideally, you should have eaten Gujarati food in Gujarat, Punjabi food in Punjab. So in quite some time, you see, I have been around the world. So Indians are crazy for America. Americans are crazy back for India. The world is completely a circle and everyone is wasting time. Shastras say that Jahi Vidhi Rakhe Ram, Sahi Vidhi Rahi. We must be happy that as per our karmas, wherever Lord places us, we should be happy about it. We should upgrade our intellect, our conscience. So not that we should unnecessarily be engaged only in eating and eating, or that we're engaging in fighting with each other. We should rather think that are we making a progressive move towards spiritual life? Are we increasing the chanting? Or are we reading more and more of the spiritual works? You see, what is the scene of the birthday? That there is a cake and there is a candle. And then there are 16 candles in the cake. And the father would light up the candles. Then the father would say, "Oh, Chintu, come." So in the Vedas, it is said that the Shastras say that may the light come from all the direction, but you come and blow these candles down. Imagine, father is asking the son even to do away with the illumination in the light. Imagine when the candle is blown, even the saliva would also enter the cake because the cake would be distributed. Imagine if a person has contracted COVID, then imagine what would be the scene of those who would consume the cake. Unfortunately, we are only regressing when all our energy and time is going futile. So this time is a very beautiful, wonderful gift of the Lord. I would say that you might understand Lord later, but first of all, try to understand the significance of time. If you would understand the significance of time, you would understand everything. Naradji says that the wheel of time can never be stopped by anyone. My dear devotees, the wheel of the time can never be stopped by anyone. And if we go on to exhaust our time, then there would be nothing. So before the time exhausts for us, we must attempt to engage ourselves in the devotion towards the Lord. Now the sons of Daksh Prajapati said that, "O Naradji, our father had asked that, O sons, after having completed your meditation, you should come back to home." Now Naradji said, "Oh dear sons, do you even know who is your real father? The father whom you're talking about today is the father of your body, but who is the father of your soul?" See, I should not be misunderstood. It is not that I am not saying for you not to be engaging in serving your parents. But why do you forget that there's a father to the soul? The body will go into ashes, but the soul is eternal. So you see, there is huge significance of the father of the soul, isn't it? No doubt that our parents gave us this body, but the eternal soul has given us this soul. Why should we be rejecting that existence of the super soul, of our Supreme Father? And in that sense, it is a bounden duty to serve our ultimate Father, our super Father, the Father of our souls, the super soul.
सो शरीर के माता पिता परंतु आत्मा के पिता परमात्मा है.
So who is the Father of the soul? The super soul. So what is the command of that super soul? That we must engage in devotion, chanting the holy name of the Lord. So in this manner, the sons of Prajapati Daksh listens to the sermons and pravachans, and that is how the sons of Daksh Prajapati got detached from the material world. So these sons of Daksh Prajapati left the material world to progress towards spirituality. So Daksh Prajapati, that is how, went on to curse Naradji. And finally, you see, Daksh Prajapati was told that instead of begetting son, you should rather now beget daughters. So Daksh Prajapati ji then married Prasuti and then gave birth to 16 daughters. The youngest among the 16 daughters was Sati. Now, Daksh Prajapati ji got Sati ji married to Lord Shiva at the behest of Brahma ji. Now, Devi Sati was completely focused upon Lord Shiva right from the very beginning. Naradji gave the sermon, and Sati ji observed the fasts of the Mondays of Shravan month, and in this manner, Lord Shiva was pleased and offered the desire of Devi Sati, and that is how Devi Sati got married to Lord Shiva. So now after marriage, Lord Shiva did narrate Shrimad Bhagavatam to Sati ji, but then you see the cheese of the house is just like potato. You do not tend to value what is easily available to you. You see, in the family, if we go on to, talk about some spiritual pursuits, and if they do not listen, then we must not worry. You see, family would never listen. They should be taking to somebody else. This is what Lord Shiva has taught us. So Shivji felt that Satiji would never listen to me. So Shivji decided so let us try to understand what Shivji did. Let's understand what is there before our screens. So once it so happened that in the Treta Yuga, Lord Shiva thought that let me give around some time to Devi Sati and engage her in some retreat and free time, and we would also be able to listen to Katha. So Lord Shiva, along with Devi Sati, left Kailash mountain and reached at the ashram of Kumbhaj Rishi. So along with Devi Sati, Lord Shiva reached the ashram of Kumbhaj Rishi. But you see what happened, and I really like this in this context.
क्योंकि कुछ लोग फिर बंद कर देंगे, ये जूम में तो अच्छा होता है ना कि भाई छोड़ो, ये तो वही घिसा पिटा आ गया, इसलिए मुझे फूंक मार मार के बोलना। तो इसलिए लास्ट में जो एक पॉइंट है वो पॉइंट बोलकर फिर मैं आगे बढ़ता जाऊंगा। पूजे ऋषि अखिलेश्वर जानी।
So the last So the second line and the last part. So when Lord Shiva had reached the ashram of Kumbhajushi, you see the Vyas, Kumbhajushi, started worshipping the lotus feet of the Lord. So basically this was humility of Kumbhajushi. The higher the status of Kumbhajushi, the higher and exalted status of a devotee, more humble he is. And not just Kumbhajushi, most of the holy speakers of Katha, for example, Kagbhushandiji, he was narrating the Katha of Shrimad Bhagavatam, and the listeners, for example, Garunji, what did they all say? Kagbhushandiji said that I am just a crow and I am so lowly placed with all versions, but how great are you people that you considered me to be a part of you and that you are listening Shrimad Bhagavatam Katha, Ram Katha from me. That was the version of Kagbhushandiji. All the speakers of Shrimad Bhagavatam and Ram Katha have always expressed their humility towards the listeners. In Naimisharanya, even Suji said that I am so lowly born an individual, but O saints and sadhus, that you people have blessed me, have made me become so great by your mercy. And a true saint would never exhibit, their intellect. They would never show off. A true saint always attempts to hide away his affect and intellect. You see, if you talk about me, people like me, it is the other way around. So a true saint hides away the effect, but a con would hide his true nature but try to exhibit his effect. He would want to have command and overpowering influence over the others. So you see, gradually over a period of time, when revelations happen, then the person becomes disillusioned. Now imagine Lord Krishna and Arjun, great friends to each other, very good friends. But the moment Lord Krishna exhibited his real form, then Arjun was completely bewildered. Arjun realized that all Dronacharya, Bhishma Pitama, everyone is just nothing but all destructive part of the world of Lord Krishna. It is at that point of time that Arjun realized that day in and day out, whom I had considered to be my friend, but he is the Lord. You see, so far, Lord Krishna never wanted to show his effect and influence. And only when Arjun persisted, that Arjun realized that he is not my friend but the Lord. You see, Arjun has wept and cried very strongly in Bhagvat Gita. And Arjun said,
Krishna Heya दव है सखेती अजानता महिमानम तवेदम मया प्रमादात् प्रणयेन वापि। कृष्ण, कृष्ण आज तक,
Arjun says, "O Krishna,
आज तक मैं आपको मेरा मित्र मानता रहा।
Arjun says, "O Krishna, so far I always considered you to be my friend, and I always used to address you as my friend, and perhaps I had never exhibited that respect which you actually deserve. I do not know how many sins I have committed against you, O Lord, just as a father goes on to ignore and forgives the numerous mistakes of his son. So, O Lord, kindly forgive me for all my offenses." Dear devotees, the thing that I want to get across is those who are great would always exhibit his nature, but always try to hide his effect and power. Lord Krishna had the Sudarshan disc, but he always kept it hidden. Rishi Kumbhaj is in his own nature of being humble and offering his obeisances to Lord Shiva. But the obeisances offered by Kumbhaj Rishi, you see, Devi Sati got to suffer from the high-handed nature, that how come a rishi who is offering obeisances to Lord Shiva, who's my husband, what katha can he utter? So that way, Devi Sati looked down upon Kumbhaj Rishi. But anyhow, because I've come with Lord Shiva to listen to the narration of katha, let me listen to him.
मुनिराज कुंभज ऋषि ने राम कथा को बहुत
So saintly Kumbhaj Rishi very beautifully narrated the story of Lord Ram. So if you see the shloka, the chaupai, there's no mention of Satiji. So Goswami ji does talk about Devi Sati arriving along with Lord Shiva, but the moment Katha started, but Satiji is out. So only Lord Shiva was actually listening. But Devi Sati went on to sleep. She was physically present, but that she was not listening to Katha with any interest. So if you ever go to attend Katha and that you go and sleep, then it is as good as saying that you are not going for the Katha. So similarly, Devi Sati, though present at the ashram of Kumbhaj Rishi, but she is not becoming a party to the Katha being narrated and listened. But Lord Shiva, with complete
भारत का साधु
dedication and attention, listened to the Katha. At the end of the Katha, Lord Shiva said to Kumbhaj Rishi, "O saint, you have done a great job of narrating the Katha. How can I help? How can I serve you?" But you see, the saints, always true for their humble nature, refuse to take anything, but upon persistence and insistence of Lord Shiva, Kumbhaj Rishi asked for the mercy and blessings of Lord Shiva to be engaging in the devotion towards Lord Ram. Now, Devi Sati elbowed towards Lord Shiva and indicated that it's been quite long that we are listening to Katha. Let us now return back to our home. So Shivji was certainly engaged in listening to Katha and he was really enjoying it. But because Devi Sati wanted to go back home, so Lord Shiva sought permission from Kumbhaj Rishi to leave the ashram. Now both Lord Shiva and Devi Sati left for Kailash. Now Lord Shiva had this desire, the Katha of Lord Ram that we listened from Rishi Kumbhaj. What if I could have darshans of Lord Ram? So exactly at the same point of time, to deliver the earth from its problems, pains, and challenges, Lord Ram had already arrived on the earth. Sita Maya had been abducted, and Lord Ram was searching for her in the forest. Now, Lord Shiva thought that it would not be wise to disturb Lord Ram in the pastime, and from a distance he offered his obeisances to Lord Ram. Now Devi Sati asked, "O Shiva, whom are you offering your obeisances to?" Lord Shiva said that the Katha of Lord Ram, which we have just listened from Kumbhaj Rishi, same Lord is doing his pastime here, and I have offered my obeisances to such Lord Ram. Now Devi Sati, who had been sleeping during the Katha, was astounded that how come the Lord is weeping and crying if he is the Lord? Lord Shiva said that because you did not listen to Katha, so how would you understand that he's engaged in pastime? But Devi Sati did not believe that a person who is weeping and crying can be the Lord. So Lord Shiva attempted to convince very strongly Devi Sati that Lord Ram is actually Lord Ram, who is engaged in performing his pastime. But Sati Devi ji was not convinced. And Lord Shiva then said that how strong the power of illusion and Maya is, that Lord is himself before us. And the one who is attempting to convince Devi Sati himself is the highest devotee of Lord Ram, but still Devi Sati was not getting convinced. Now imagine, each one of us are here in the age of Kali Yuga, and Lord Ram is not present before us in the appeared form, and we do not have even, a great Vaishnava like Shiva with us to convince us. Now imagine all the husbands who always complain that their wives do not listen to them. Imagine Lord Shiva, who is attempting to convince his consort, Devi Sati, and she never listens. So it always goes like this. There is no fault of wives. They won't listen. Anyhow, Devi Sati said that no, he cannot be the Lord. You have gone crazy, actually. So Devi Sati said that you have gone a blind devotee. You keep on offering your obeisances everywhere. I would only believe that if and only if he succeeds the examination, and I will take the exam. Lord Shiva said that, okay, you go ahead. And now Lord Shiva is contemplating that she is my wife. She has performed strong penances for strong time to get me as the husband, and still she is not listening to me. Now, then Lord Shiva contemplated, and this ideally should be an inspiration to all the husbands and men.
जो राम रचि राखा को करि तरक बढ़ावे ही साखा क्योंकि होई सोई जो राम
So, you see, if we have any desire in our heart, and if the desire gets fulfilled, then consider it as the mercy and blessings of the Lord. So, if our desires are getting fulfilled, consider it as a blessing of the Lord. And if our desires do not come true, then also you should consider that it is the desire of the Lord. What else? So this was the formula Lord Shiva gave to himself. Why am I engaged in any arguments? Because whatever shall happen as is the desire of the Lord, whatever he has written it. You see, biggest magicians of the world is Ram and Krishna, and who have already played their trick. And actually, we are actually the players and dancers to their commands. But foolishly, we consider ourselves as the doers and as the main leads. Lord Shiva told to himself that why am I getting engaged in arguments? Because whatever shall happen as has been written and desired by the Lord. So you see, in the families, if people do not want to move into devotion, we must make an attempt, but then if still they do not listen, we should not engage in unnecessary argument. So what did Lord Shiva do after attempting to convince Devi Sati a lot? So what did Lord Shiva do? You see the first segment of the second line? As kahi lage japan harinama. So if nobody listens, engage yourself in chanting. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And hence in this manner, Lord Shiva attempted to convince Devi Sati, and Devi Sati went in to take the examination of the Lord. So we shall now meet tomorrow, you see, and continue with our Katha. So the question still remains intact, that how come the population of the demigods do not increase? So if you have an answer to this, you should certainly attempt to answer. Otherwise, you see, we will certainly talk about in tomorrow's session. We will also engage ourselves in delivering upon Balram Katha and Shri Krishna Katha. So once again, I extend my gratitude to the host family who have organized this beautiful Katha in the loving memory of Madhuben Patel and Yogesh Bhai Patel by Bhai Lal Patel from New Jersey, and also Deepa Ben, Hina Ben, and Pankaj Bhai ji and the entire family. And also from Bangladesh, we have Chand family who have organized this beautiful katha in the loving memory of Kalpana Rai Chand, Bindu Chand, and also Durjatan Chand. So let us now bring a close to this session, and we shall look forward to meet tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Radhe Shyam.